What? No freaking way. Are you kidding me? Holy shit. No way, Netmarble. Are you kidding me? Wow. This is... Oh my god. That is so freaking cool. Holy crap. Oh my god. People are going to lose their minds over this. Holy crap. Wow. Oh my god. Wow, Netmarble. That's how you get people hype. Holy crap. What's going on, you guys? TBR here. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another King of Fighters All-Star video. I hope you all had a wonderful week and happy weekend to all you guys. In this week's installment of the Saturday Chat and Chill, I am going to be covering a couple of different topics with a little bit of a surprise at the end for you guys. But what we're going to be talking about this week is going to be a couple of topics that are going to be rolled into one, which is what my plans are between now and the 24th of March whenever the Street Fighter V collaboration drops, how I'm planning on spending, what I'm planning on stockpiling, what I'm planning on saving. I'm going to walk you guys through what I have in my inventory since I've never done that before. And I'm just going to go ahead and have a discussion with you guys on my plans going forward here on the channel over the course of the next month. So before we get into all of that and more though, make sure if you guys haven't already done so, you smash that like button and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into the Saturday Chat and Chill. Cue the intro. You guys, so the first thing I want to go ahead and cover in today's video is of course going to be the main topic of this week's Saturday Chat and Chill, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get into something that's a little bit more on the fun side. So the first thing I want to go ahead and talk about, of course, is going to be what we talked about in the introduction, which is the question I've been getting a ton lately, and that is, what are my plans between now and the Street Fighter V collaboration? Besides waiting on bated breath, my plans in this game right now are to pretty much turtle.
What do you think? I like turtles.
And for those of you who are unaware of what that means, I'm going to go ahead and explain that to you in today's video. But before I do that, I do want to make sure that I point out this is not me recommending that you guys do what I'm planning on doing. This is my decision with my resources and my account. If you guys want to do what I'm doing, it might be the smartest thing for you to do, to be honest with you, because of the power creep that these collaborations typically bring along with them. However, the game is yours, whatever account you're playing is yours, so you can do whatever the heck you want with it. Me personally, this is going to be what I'm going to be doing. So the first question that I've been getting a ton of is, what are my plans with the new boss syndrome stuff? Will I max them out? Am I planning on going back in on the banners? So on and so forth. And the quick answer to that is no. I'm not planning on spending a single ruby on anything banner-wise between now and the Street Fighter collaboration. Now, I've had a lot of people point out the fact that my rubies are starting to get back up there quite a bit. This is partially to do with the fact that I did not go crazy for the SS Terry and SS Mary banner, and this is also partially to do with the fact that I have not really pulled at all on this new boss syndrome banner, or at least this rerun boss syndrome banner. But I digress. So with that being said, going forward, unless they end up surprising us in some sort of immeasurable way that none of us saw coming, I am not planning on whatsoever pulling on anything. So keep that in mind. I hope between now and the 24th of March, since we have about a month or so, give or take, between now and then, is to pretty much try to get myself to the point where I'm closer to 100,000 rubies than not. And that's probably a bit of a stretch, but at the same time, we'll see where we end up. So right now we have 57,600. I'll have more by the time I get my dailies done today. We'll see what we end up with by the time the Street Fighter collaboration comes around. But my recommendation to most people is always, whenever you know, especially when we have this much of a heads up on a collaboration, not even to mention the fact that it is one of the coolest ones we've ever had, you need to make sure that you are saving as much as possible, because again, the power creep that these collaborations typically are going to bring along with them is usually going to be something pretty impressive. So my recommendation there, honestly, you guys, would be to save. So speaking of saving, I had told you guys that I'm planning on turtling my account. So what does that mean? Well, I'm going to show you guys here. So if we go to my inventory, so my first priority right now is to make sure that I have as much as humanly possible resource-wise so that when the Street Fighter collaboration comes along, and this part is a little bit admittedly just YouTuber problems, but my first priority going into the Street Fighter collaboration is going to be having as many of the resources as humanly possible to potentially max out every single character, so that way I can bring you guys footage on those characters as soon as humanly possible, but also so I can do things like spotlights and etc. Now my plan going forward in the Street Fighter collaboration will be to try and max out everybody that I can, so my hope is I can max out everyone. That is going to be my ultimate aim. However, the first priority for me is definitely going to be Akuma, if you guys couldn't tell. So what I'm going to plan on doing here is trying to do every single possible daily that I can, like normal. That's what I do on a daily basis in general, but I'm not planning on using any of those resources. So as you guys see here, like when it comes to my XP capsules, when it comes to my plus capsules, I have plenty right now. I'm not going to have to worry about that. I've recently restocked on my cores. I don't need to worry about any of that. When it comes to AP, I'm still in a pretty darn good position, so if there ends up being some sort of event where I'm going to need a bunch of AP, like a rush dungeon, which we can pretty much set our watch to, I will have plenty of that to grind on that. And when it comes to souls, I have plenty of that stuff, so that way whenever I pull those fest characters, I can go ahead and parlay their souls into purple dust and just go ahead and use these. And I also have a ton of boxes sitting around, which I can probably show you guys as well, so if I ever need more of these, I can do that as well. Now, when it comes to anything else in here, get out of all this stuff. So other things that I'm planning on saving as much as humanly possible right now is of course going to be some of the things that you would normally come to expect as we get away from all these memories, but one of the big things that I am definitely planning on saving up is these here. Now, I've talked to you guys about these already over the past couple of days. You guys may or may not have heard me say that I could use these to A5 my Omega Rugal if I wanted to, and that way I can go ahead and max him out, quote unquote. However, while I do not believe that we will probably see Boss Syndrome collaboration characters, at the same time, there is always that potential. So my plan, and the reason why I don't want to use these right now, is because if Akuma ends up being a Boss Syndrome character, which again, I don't believe that there will be because we don't have a history of this, however, I want to be prepared for anything. So I'm going to hold on to these. You know, if M. Bison is also in this collaboration, there's every chance in the world that he could also be a Boss Syndrome character if they decide to go that route. I still think that these are going to be SS characters, but still, I digress. I am planning on going ahead and saving these and banking these, and hopefully picking more of these up from some of my runs in Inferno between now and then as well, because if that does happen, I'd be pretty set. So right now, unfortunately, I don't have any SS generics, but at the same time, we can always hope that we can get some of those out of those aforementioned SS or Inferno boxes. So, other things in here. Now, hammers are going to be something that's going to be a bit of a sticky situation right now. I have nowhere near enough. However, what I'm planning on doing is just continuing to build these up. I think that between now and whenever the 24th rolls around, I will have plenty of those. If you're somebody that has never been around for a collaboration, usually you're going to want a lot of hammers because you're going to end up getting, if anything from the Guilty Gear collaboration ends up carrying over as an example to this next collaboration, we ended up getting a ton of different ways to get stones. So you're probably going to need a ton of different hammers. So if I were you guys, I would try to stockpile hammers as best you can from whatever avenues you have available to you. Another thing that I am planning on trying to save up as many of as I possibly can, and the reason why I had mentioned this yesterday, I don't have unpairing kits, even though I have one, to use on characters like Omega Rugal and Orochi to properly build them, to showcase them, is because, well, one, I never get these things anyway, and two, I only have one available to me, and I want to make sure that I save that particularly for Akuma, because whenever that character drops, again, I want to be able to max him out on day one, or whenever they end up dropping him during the collaboration period. So that is going to be another thing that I'm going to try and pinpoint and stockpile as many of as I possibly can. So I'm not planning on using those. So Beyond that, other things in here, when it comes to any of my tickets and things of that nature, I am planning on saving up as much of that stuff as possible. You never know when you're going to see a carnival, so for me, I am going to be stockpiling those. This is quite different from my normal because usually I don't stockpile everything, but since they did give us a heads up this early for collaboration, I figure I should just go ahead and take advantage. So there's a reason why if you guys ever see I have all these tickets sitting in my inventory and I'm not using them, that's why. So other things in here, as you guys can see, and I had mentioned this, but I do have a ton of these boxes for the souls, for the cores, all this other stuff that I've stockpiled over the years. I'm planning on just sitting on those, and I always sit on these guys here. I almost have never used these. So if I do run into a situation where I need more, I'll have plenty, and the rest of this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. Now this is a big one here. So anything that has to do with these imprint stones for the star and the moonstones, I'm planning on just stockpiling all this stuff from Chapter of Fight, just to wait and see what the colors of each one of these characters are. Again, with the priority for me personally being Akuma, I am planning on just saving all this stuff up, and then I can go ahead and parlay that into the boxes that correspond with whatever characters or character I want to build up, and that will be that, but I am planning on not really using any of this as well. Other things in here, summon tokens really don't matter, and the rest of this stuff here doesn't matter really. What else we got here? So other things in here, I don't think that we really need to discuss. However, there is one other thing I want to point out. So people oftentimes ask me about my ruby counts, and there are specific instances and specific things in this game that I purposefully do not finish. I've actually mentioned this in the past. I had shown you guys with the battle card dungeon, for example. There were several missions there that I had just left with the last mission not being finished for those rubies. And the reason for that was just so that way for a rainy day or for an emergency situation down the road, if I ever knew that I needed to go ahead and finish those, I would get a few extra 100 rubies here and there. So certain things like that I've always left. Other things that I've left that I can go ahead and show you guys, and I know a lot of veterans have already finished all these, but me personally, I've always tried to leave as many of these open as I can, is going to be in soul missions here. So as you guys can see, I have a ton of different characters that I could go in here and go ahead and do these different missions for, so that way I could get more rubies. I have been doing a lot of this lately just so that way I can get as many rubies as humanly possible. So that's another thing that I've been doing lately. But in general, I am planning on going through and doing as many of these as I can now going forward, just so that way I can get just that many more rubies. So that's another thing that I've been doing. So in general, you guys, I have been really planning for something like this that I've really been excited for and really wanted for a long time. There's a lot of different things that I've kind of left unfinished just so that way I could have extra rubies if I needed them. And that's just something that I've always done. I don't know how many people out there have ever done that. I know a few people that have, but in general, that's been kind of my MO. So in general, though, I think that I just wanted to go ahead and make this video and talk about this week because I've had a lot of people asking me particularly about these new banners. I've had a lot of people asking me in general what I'm planning on doing with it, and honestly, you guys, I'm not planning on doing anything. I think I've made it pretty apparent over the course of the past couple of weeks that I'm not planning on going hard for anything whatsoever. In fact, I'm not planning on going in on anything at this point until the Street Fighter collaboration. So that is going to be that. You guys can let me know in the comment section down below what you plan on doing as far as saving and preparing for the Street Fighter collaboration. Those are just some of the things I'm doing. Like I said, I'm planning on turtling my account between now and then, so I'm going to be kind of in a bit of a stasis period when it comes to the way I spend things, but I think that by the time the collaboration rolls around, that will definitely be worth it. And can you imagine the summon sessions that we are going to have? Man, cannot wait. So with that being said, we do have one other thing we're going to do here today. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to go in here. We're going to pick up this guy here. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to go ahead and EX Omega Rugal. So for those of you who have not seen already, I'm going to pick these up while I'm here. For those of you who have not seen Omega Rugal, bit of a monster, right? So I'm very excited to be able to test him out and play around with him. You know, when it comes to these characters, as far as these boss characters, you guys know me, I've told you guys this a million times. My favorite characters when it comes to these bosses from SNK, Fatal Fury, King of Fighters, so on and so forth in general, have always been Geese and Rugal. Those are the two that I prefer. You know, I know a lot of people out there prefer characters such as, for instance, you know, your Orochis of the world and so on and so forth. But for me, it really is those two. So I am excited to do this, but you know, again, I'm not excited enough to go in and max this guy out right now. I'm gonna wait and see. That could happen. You know, it's going to be one of those things where I'm basically going to wait and see what ends up happening with those characters as far as whether there are indeed any BS characters in the collaboration, which I doubt. Again, I don't think that's going to happen, but again, I want to be prepared. So what we're going to do is that we do have 3 memories now, so we're going to go ahead and use those to use this change-up kit. We're going to go ahead and EX this guy. Fantastic. And there you go. So we now have both characters EX, and I could not be happier to have Rugal EX. That is going to be a lot of fun. And now I can send out 2 different S missions for the dispatch if they're available to me. So that is pretty much going to be the video for today, you guys. You know, I hope you all found it informative. I hope you at least enjoyed it. If there's anything that I might be able to save that I didn't go over, that might be necessary, that I somehow forgot, you can let me know in the comment section down below, but I think that about covers it. You know, like I said, if you guys want to do what I'm doing, by all means, go right ahead. However, that was not my intention behind making this video. Instead, I just wanted to go ahead and be transparent with you guys and let you know my plans. So with that being said, you guys, if you enjoyed the video, like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy your weekends. Try to have some fun. And I will see you guys on Monday. You all take care. Peace.
Continue.